The first thing I thought of when I heard this is, okay, it's not real. It felt like a headline from The Onion. And then all of a sudden, you're like, the girl from Full House, now Fuller House, and Felicity Huffman are involved in it. I go, oh, okay, it's funny, but it's not real. And then all of a sudden you start reading more reports came out. And you went, oh no, this is really, really real. The second thing I thought of was the brilliance of Aaron Sorkin creating The Social Network. If I had him dive into this and create this with characters and money and bribes, photoshopping, man, it just feels like it's one of those dark, dark movies. Yes,
because right, I don't think anybody's surprised that rich people are buying their kids' way into college. That's been going on since forever.
Yeah,
right. But it's just the level at which it feels different when, right, if you're donating a building and then Jimmy Lipper gets to go to Yale, that's one thing. But when you're saying Jimmy Lipper was actually a star basketball player to get in, and then you pay that money as a bribe to somebody where only one person or three people are getting rich off of it or getting, their bank account inflated, that's completely different to me.
I don't know why you had to go to that extent to get them in. And you're going to these secondary sports, the coach of these secondary sports. And I know that they're not making, that kind of money, good money, or they probably think that, you know what, I can get compensated. Nobody's going to know about this. What's an extra $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 here? And nobody gets hurt, right? And, of course, people do get hurt. But you're putting in people and you've created you've falsified documents to get them in. Yes,
and I mean, I'm not sure what the Yale women's soccer coach makes, but I bet it's not $400,000.
No. What does she make, Paulie?
Under six figures.
Yeah. And very successful. This water polo coach, extremely successful. National titles, like 17 national titles. And it's gone. All gone. But the means to be able to get your kid in, like, do you want your kid into a university that you had to do this for or was willing to do this for your kid? Yeah, Paul.
That's the thing. I guess guys like us sitting here, I'm neither rich nor famous, so it's hard to put myself in the mindset of thinking, I would rather have my kid be a cheat and teach them cheating your way in is admirable. And can you imagine congratulating your kid on getting into USC when you and your kid know it's false?
I don't know if all the kids knew.
No.
But you know what?
But if the kid has a 2.2 grade point average and all of a sudden USC says, come on in, there's something wrong there. If I applied to Northwestern and got in, I would have known out of high school something was wrong. I don't belong at Northwestern. If you doubled my GPA, then maybe. Yeah. I'm being serious.
Yes, Eden.
And I bet Lori Laughlin, whatever her name is, her kid is already like a semi-celeb. Right? She already had 1 million followers on Instagram. She already has all of this stuff going on for her. And to buy your kid's way into a school because you're going to feel pressure from the other parents is such garbage.
Well, you feel pressure from your kid who says, I have to go to USC.
All my friends are going.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, okay. And my kid wants to play video games all day. No. That's what being a parent is. And being an adult is saying, okay, no, sorry, then if you wanted to go to that school, you should have been a better student.
You would think you would make that decision, but if you have this, this cash, you have this prestige, and you can use it, and hey, nobody's gonna know. I'm famous. I got money. We can get around this.
But that's how I think it's kind of, well, it's not funny, but it's interesting that it seems like there's a caliber of celebrity and people who have money that you can take advantage of. And that's what these people really did. They just took advantage of people who weren't famous enough to get their kid in based on, I called. Like, this isn't Tom Cruise's kid that called. And he's not the one faking that their kid was. It's people who are like, yeah, I guess we can take advantage of these celebs.
Well, and I'm looking at who's worse here, the parents or the coaches and the administrators. I look at the coaches and the administrators. Parents are desperate sometimes when it comes to this situation. They Paulie, you've been around this where somebody doesn't get into a school and it's the worst thing in the world. You had that with your sister.
Yes.
Right?
And my sister and her daughters and her friends, I would be over there and I would hear the stories. They live in an affluent community. And it was the word disaster when they didn't get into a certain school. I'm talking about all the kids.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it is a big deal. But when that's the worst thing that happens to you.
But in the moment, it is. I remember when my daughter was going to Denison, and we waited for that freaking letter. And I didn't know a soul at Denison. I knew of Denison because I'm from Ohio. And she got the letter, went upstairs to her room. So my wife and I are downstairs, and we're like, oh, God. And then she came down and said, okay, I started crying. I got into Denison. That's just Denison. Wonderful university. That's not Yale. That's not Harvard. But it was such a big, traumatic moment. And you'll go through this. If you haven't gone through this, trust me. If I said you could pay and you had the money, hey, would you pay $100,000 for your kid to go to Harvard? If you had the money, you would.
Like if my kid were close and I had 100 that I could let go,
Yeah.
it wouldn't kill me financially, and I could just turn the tables a little bit.
Yes.
I can understand what you're saying. Like you can't, when it's not real, it's easy to say I would not do it.
You're changing their lives is how the parents will view this. Or, you know what, if they get to Harvard or USC, they're dying to go to Stanford. And I can get them in? Yeah. Parents will absolutely sign up to do that if they have the means to do that. A lot of them will. Yes.
Which sounds a lot different than, would you pay $100,000 for your kid to get in Harvard because you're giving them a better life?
Yeah.
Is way different than, would you pay $100,000 to get your kid into Harvard so Jim and Sally think more of you? Right.
No, it's all encompassing, Seton. It's not just that, but that's a facet of this. It is absolutely a facet of this where you, by proxy, look better because your kid went to a better school.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.